So I'm going to say a little bit, no more than 10 minutes to get us going, and then we'll start discussing, and you can all join in a bit later. So how worried should we be about artificial intelligence? We're now told by great moral authorities, like the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and Elon Musk, that we ought to be very worried. So, because of course we believe everything that people like that say, I'm sure we're all very worried to start with. What I want to do tonight to start the ball rolling is simply to raise the question of whether we're worried about the right things. A lot of the worry about AI that we read about in the media seems to be essentially a matter of worrying about whether we're going to be taken over by a race of super robots, that there will be no more work left for anybody to do because robots will do it all, that we will be constantly, systematically deceived by artificial intelligence imitating our humanity, and that we will finally lose all sense of what is distinctive about being human. Well, all of those are, you might say, understandable worries, but it's really only the last one that I think ought to worry us most fundamentally, and that is the losing of our sense of what it is to be human. Last night, in introducing the retreat, I talked a little bit about idolatry, the way in which the human mind constructs things which it then takes for independent, powerful realities. If you want another slightly more scientific-sounding word for it, go to Karl Marx and read about fetishism. We make things, we've forgotten we've made them, and we treat them as gods. It's all there in the Psalms and the prophets in Hebrew scripture. But one of the most telling scriptural phrases around that is in one of the Psalms. They that make them shall be like unto them. They that make them shall be like unto them. If you start ascribing all sorts of mysterious and occult powers to bits of carved wood that you've made, says the prophet in the Old Testament, don't be surprised if you become not simply more wicked, but more stupid as time goes on. And I scratch my head and think, well, maybe that's something to do with what's happening with AI. We have, so to speak, forgotten we made it. And the problem then is this. Artificial intelligence, like all sorts of digital media, depends on the incredibly rapid processing of vast amounts of data. It still works, essentially, on a binary yes or no system. And the sophistication that we've developed in designing machines that will answer quick yes or no questions, running through literally uncountable numbers of options in a minimal time, that's very impressive. The problem is when you think that is the essence of how minds work. We talk about computer learning. We talk about how extremely sophisticated systems of AI are self-adjusting, self-correcting. They feed in data in a sort of feedback loop to improve their performance. But arguably that's not quite what we mean by learning when we talk about our minds. And so I want to pick out just 3 things about the human mind which seem to me, as very much an amateur here, to fit very uncomfortably with artificial intelligence. The danger being that if we don't raise these problems, we do end up with a shrunken and distorted picture of what our humanity is like and what our human mental and imaginative capacity is like. They that make them shall be like unto them. And you all know how very popular it is for books to be written about how the brain is basically a computer.